What's it like being black in Japan?
I think it's a bit overwhelming at first, to be completely honest, because
And then she would like block me. And she would block me, right? And it seemed like she liked me, but she kept blocking me. And then
No matter where I go, I'll always get discriminated against for being black. So I might as well choose the place that makes me happy.
Hi everyone, how are you? This is Ricky. Today I'm going to interview black people. What's it like being black in Japan? So let's see. On my channel, I dive into Japanese culture and lifestyle with both Japanese people and foreigners in Japan. So it's a perfect channel for anyone thinking about traveling to or living in Japan. Plus, you can learn real everyday Japanese by watching this video like this. So if you haven't yet, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel and follow me on my Instagram where I show my daily life in Tokyo. Alright, let's get started. So thank you so much for your time. Could you introduce yourself?
my name is Darion. I'm from America, and I'm particularly from Louisiana, like the central Louisiana. Yeah.
Alright. So how long have you been in Japan?
I've only been in Japan for a week so far, but I did go last year for 1 month, a part of the school program here.
Alright, so how long will you be staying in Japan?
I'll be staying in Japan for 1 year.
What's it like, being black in Japan?
Okay, that's a really good question. I feel like when it comes to being black in Japan, it's no different from being maybe like another color. Now, just in the Asian countries, white is favored more merely because that's just how it's been for a long time. The color white is favored, not necessarily the character of the person, but just the appearance. Like if a Japanese person sees a white guy and he's like mildly attractive, it's like, oh, that guy is like cool, he's super cool, he's white or whatever. But that's not as common, I think, nowadays. I feel like it's more so whenever you come here, you're a foreigner. You're not black necessarily, you're not white necessarily, you're a foreigner. And it's only a few Japanese people that might look at you as color. For example, there's a lot of Japanese girls that like gyaru, and a lot of them really like hip hop culture. I'm just using Japanese.
You mean gyaru?
Gyaru, however you say it.
Alright,
Gyaru.
Gyaru, right? Yeah.
Gyaru.
Yeah.
I'm only using Japanese girls for example, but it's also guys too that are
Yeah,
also
I
like hip hop. So a lot of girls that are into that, they like hip hop whatnot. So when they see a black guy, it might be more of a like a spectacle to them, right? That's the only case where race might play a part. But for the most part, in Japan, it's mostly just like, oh, you're a foreigner, right? Instead of just like, oh, you're black, you're white, you're Mexican, right? So when it comes to relationships here, you have to be very, very, I guess, particular with what you might say and how you might convey something.
Okay, let's say you're dating a Japanese girl. Like, is there any problem? Could be like language, could be like culture difference, or like whatever.
Ooh, good question. So one problem could be a case of being fetishized because of the race. The one problem can be they just see you as a novelty, right? And I've seen this in many interviews with foreigners on Japan. It's like if you're like black or whatever, it's like a novelty, right? So they might not completely like you for you. Oh, I'll tell you an experience I did have. I was talking to a Japanese girl online, and we talked for a very long time. I don't know if she's Manhattan, I'm not sure, but she was a little bit crazy. But we were talking, and she was very sweet and whatnot. But she would have these weird moments where she would get like really drunk and whatnot or whatever, and then she would like block me. And she would just block me, right? And it seemed like she liked me, but she kept blocking me, and then she just blocked me altogether. So I don't think she necessarily liked me personally. It was kind of just like, oh, this is a black guy, it's a spectacle. Let me talk to him for a little bit or whatever, and then move on, right? And I've heard a lot of other people talk about that same experience where it'll seem like someone's into them, and then it's kind of just like they kind of distance off once they get their fix of a foreigner, So, but it's not with every Japanese. I'm not going to say that, but it's some of them are like that, especially counting like what their niche is, So.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Could you introduce yourself?
My name is Umi, and I'm from Florida, and I've lived in Japan for 2 years.
What brought you to Japan?
I wanted to study Japanese, and since I was a kid, I've always wanted to live here.
What's it like being black in Japan?
So it's different from being a foreigner. Those are two different things. technically, yeah, they're the same, but also different. Being black, I would say, has its difficulties. Like, I get stereotyped a lot, actually, in Japan. So, with my job, I work with kids, and so when I first meet them, they cry because of my skin tone. I get a lot of derogatory terms sometimes with Japanese people, like they've called me like a monkey. I've been called the N word a few times here, but also it's been really good too. So, like, because I'm black, I stand out a lot. And so people come to me more usually than most. So, like, if I'm with my friends who are, like, let's say white, Japanese people will come to me first because I look more different, I guess. Maybe because I dress pretty Japanese. So.
Is there any pros and cons like being black in Japan?
Yeah. Okay. So the cons are, of course, people will stare at me a lot, but I'm pretty used to that. Stare at me. So some of this discrimination, but the pros are, so if I apply for a job, there's not a lot of black people usually that apply for jobs, so I'll get picked more often than not because they want something new, something fresh. Yeah.
All right. Is there anything that you want to share your experience in Japan, like being black?
Oh, yeah. So I guess being black in Japan, I use dating apps sometimes to talk to guys. And a lot of people there will say, like, oh, I've never talked to a black person before. So usually I'm the first black person that I've gone on a date with a Japanese guy. For the most part, it's pretty nice. And I would say, like, there's a group of, like, Nigerians that live in, like, Harajuku and Shibuya and stuff. And usually if there's like some trouble or some guy trying to talk to me, they will step in and help me because I'm black too. So they will, we try to have each other's backs. Yeah. Also, because I'm black and I live in Japan, a lot of Japanese people assume that I can't speak Japanese, or they assume that I'm from Africa, or if I tell them that I'm American, then they get surprised because I think a lot of Japanese stereotypes towards African American women are is that everyone is pretty heavyset, fat. So that's a big stereotype here with being black in Japan. And yeah, like I said, they assume I can't speak Japanese. So when I do speak Japanese, they get really surprised. So because I think they assume like me and my friends are together. She's white, I'm black. They assume she can speak Japanese and I can't. So that happens quite a lot. And usually it's opposite. They can't speak Japanese, but I can. So, yeah.
I see. That's interesting. Okay, thank you. Do you see yourself in Japan in the future?
Yes, I plan to live here as long as I can. I want to try to live here forever. Hope that's my plan because I really love living here, even though Japan has its pros and cons everywhere around the world, has its pros and cons. So I think, like, as an African American woman, as a black woman, no matter where I go, I'll always get discriminated against for being black. So I might as well choose the place that makes me happy.
All right, thank you so much. Do you speak Japanese?
少しだけ。
Can you introduce yourself in Japanese too?
Okay, じゃあ、はじめまして。私の名前は海です。2年くらい日本住んでいる。なんか私の日本語はあんまりペラペラじゃない。だからもっと勉強したいです。はい。
ありがとうございます。All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Yeah, could you introduce your background?
So my name is Christopher Holman. I'm from America, the United States. I'm Jamaican and Haitian for my nationality. I was raised in like the suburb area of like Long Island, if you know where that's at. And I'm studying abroad here in Japan I've been here for a few months, 2 months so far. So I'll be here for another month or so.
All right, how do you like it here so far?
I like it a lot here so far. It's a beautiful city, a lot of things to see, a lot of great sights. The culture here is it's fun. Like people are super nice. We go into izakayas and drinking. It's amazing. The food here is great, and there's just a lot of things to do and a lot of opportunity, which I haven't tapped into yet. But like you can just see it around the place. There's so many things to do.
All right, so what's it like being black in Japan?
I think it's a bit overwhelming at first, to be completely honest, because like coming from America specifically, being from the Philly part, it's like a whole different culture and experience, and you have to sort of like relearn how to navigate that. I think sometimes people staring and stuff, and like people getting like not weird, looks people looking at you. It is a bit like it caught me off guard a little bit. That in itself, it's its own experience. But like besides that, I think like personally, I've been saying to myself a lot, so trying to avoid all that. So it's not the worst experience, but I think like if I was here any longer than a few months, it'd definitely be something I have to really start learn how to navigate and get used to.
Is there any like negative thing that you didn't expect in Japan?
I think the negative thing I didn't expect was like sometimes people can be a bit standoffish here and like cold and reserved, and like that's never a problem because like you live your own life, of course. But like for my personality, it is like I'm used to like talking to everybody and like wanting to connect to people, and like you feel like you can't really have that too much over here, at least what I experienced so far.
Is there any pros and cons being black in Japan?
I think pros is that like, you know, you just can be in your own world. No one's really bothering me in terms of like physically bothering me, and like I can just live my own life, and I guess that's a really nice part. The girls and men here are super like receptive of me and like can be understanding at times if they see I don't speak English, like, you know, try to work with me and stuff. But like I think the cons are like it is just like it's hard to relate to other people and like other experiences because like my experience is so like it's its own thing, so it's difficult to actually connect with people on that.
There are a lot of Japanese people who has dreads.
Yeah.
What do you think about it? What can I ask?
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't ever think it's my place or someone's place to, like, you know, yell at somebody for it, get mad at somebody about their own life. But, like, I do think it's a bit strange. Just because dreadlocks do have a bit of a religious significance. Japan has its own, like, culture and things that they can add into their own life. It's important to at least know what they mean or present if you're going to be wearing dreads. So it's, like, it's never, like, a big problem or something to, like, get mad at. But, like, it is, like, a bit like a, that's weird.
All right, so you feel kind of weird.
A little bit. Like, I don't let it like, bother me that much, and just like it's not like my biggest focus of attention, but like it is something that I noticed. Like, oh, that's like a non-black person wearing dreadlocks.
Do you speak Japanese?
Not really. I have a textbook and some like writing books to practice. I know some like basic phrases and stuff like that, but like I don't really know it that well.
All right, like, do you want to say something in Japanese?
I guess gozaimasu. See what I'm saying?
All right, thank you so much. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you so much for watching so far. How was it? I really appreciate their willingness to be in the interview this time. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel so you never miss out on future videos. Again, thank you so much for watching until the end. See you tomorrow.